Should be.
All right, call it to order, 10 o'clock. Any changes or additions to the agenda as presented, or if none, can we get an approval?
I'll motion to approve.
Is there a second? The agenda has been approved.
Oh, I didn't hear.
Sorry? Oh, we need to do a roll call, don't we?
No.
No? Okay. Like I said, you gotta help me out. So. The minutes, are there any changes or can we get an approval on that?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
And then moving on to the DOT 5339
It's
grant.
approval, but you don't have to do roll call.
The grant?
No, for the.
Oh, sorry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Now we'll move on to the grant.
In your packet is the 5339 grant, and it's 5339 is part of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. And what is in that grant, if you go to the last page of the grant agreement, you'll see there is shop tools, computers, dispatch, software, and tires. Federal share of that is 80%. Our local share is 20%. This was approved by City Council, so it's in the budget. It was approved. We're good to go. I just wanted to let you know that we received this grant funding. This is items that we put into our 5-year capital improvement plan. So having that plan helps us get these funds.
Fiscal year 25, 5311 funding.
Some not so good news, but it doesn't affect the city as much as it does other transit agencies. We received an email on Monday, October 21st. Our fiscal year starts October 1st, so this is 20 days after our beginning of our fiscal year. From the DOT, it says, "Good afternoon. We would like to provide an update regarding the fiscal year 25 5311 funds. The FTA was unable to approve our grant application before the fiscal year end shutdown. We anticipate that the system will reopen at the end of the month. As soon as we receive grant approval, we will promptly send out funding agreements. Please note this may extend into December. In the meantime, we encourage you to review your finances and plan accordingly." So because of that, transit agencies will not be receiving their 5311 funding, which is administrative and operating funding, until possibly December or later. So they're going to have to operate without these funds for a few months. Thank goodness we're part of the city. We have funds we can continue to operate, but some transits in the state may not be as lucky and may have to close down or reduce services or something like that. We also got another update that stated that our DOT, the head of the DOT Air, Rail, and Transit, Jack Dockin, contacted the FTA, and they indicated that after TRAMS opens back up, TRAMS is their inputting software type stuff. After that opens back up, they would work to expedite the funding. And we discussed administrative steps both offices can take to facilitate a quick disbursement. DOT is completing the necessary steps to expedite that disbursement once they will be ready to go we will be ready to go once TRANS opens. So I just wanted to update you all. Like I said, it doesn't affect Palace Transit as much, but just information that it could affect transit overall in the state, not having these funds saved.
Well, definitely hurt a lot of people. That
Yeah.
goes into effect.
Some transits have a good reserve, some don't. I mean,
What was the delay from? getting
The
it approved?
FTA blamed it on the 5311 application that the state submitted to FTA was received on time. However, as communicated earlier, lapsing funds took precedence in the processing of applications. South Dakota did not have any lapsing funds. So any application that had lapsing funds, those took precedence over our application. So before the government shutdown happened, we were not able to get our application processed.
Because we did things right. Oh, my God.
Any other questions, discussion?
And Jay, we've been having Sarah run the meeting since.
Let's just keep right on
Oh,
trucking.
all right.
You sure you don't want it?
I'm sure.
All right.
Sorry I was late, but I had to meet with my oncologist this morning, and I'm clear to go. So
Wonderful.
I got here as quick as I could.
Good reason to be late. Capital improvement plan.
In the packet, you'll find our annual capital improvement plan. And as I talked about in the 5339 grant application our award that we just received, we utilize the information that's in this 5-year capital improvement plan. There's different areas, is the rolling stock, which is your vehicles. And so I have a plan in for there. We also have the facilities, and that's where it has to do with the garage, the building, that kind of stuff. As you can see, we have the garage doors and the lights in there. Then we have an equipment area where they do equipment, technology, and miscellaneous. As you can see, I put in there the tires, shop tools, first aid, wash bay. In the technology, we did, of course, the software, the cameras, and computers and software. We also did, on the miscellaneous, we talked about first aid and office chairs, just planning on maybe replacing those in 2027. And then also in there is our budget sheet, and that was showing what the budget would be for those areas.
All right. Transit coordination plan update.
As you all should know, we have our annual update to our transit coordination plan that is required every year. The state, however, did a statewide coordination plan that we sent out I think it was the last meeting, we had that attached. But this is an update to what we just completed for the last fiscal year. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer any of the questions of things we've completed and haven't completed. I think we had a good, successful year. And we would like approval of the coordination plan.
All those in favor? Or any questions before we vote?
We need a motion in a second.
Motion to approve. Good.
I will move. Since I'm not in the chairman's position, I can make a motion.
All right. Do
I
I get a
will move
second?
to approve.
All right. Can I get a second?
Take a second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, approved. Nutrition site assessments.
The state came and did a site assessment on our nutrition program, which overall went really well. The only finding they really had that we went over was our 2 sites where we deliver to is Meadowlawn and Green Ridge. We deliver their meals in to-go boxes with the expectation that they are eating in their congregate site. Well, we have found through this assessment that people are taking the meals up to their rooms and not eating them in a congregate setting. As we know, the purpose of congregate meals is not only to get your nutrition, but to have your social, emotional connection as well, talk to people, and that was important. So we had to, after this, we sent the assessment back to the state. And you can see our responses that we put in the assessment as well. The other one was food in the refrigerator at Wesley Acres, but that wasn't our food. It was their community food. But we also, after that, we put together a letter, as you can see, in the attachment to our nutrition program participants, stating that all meals must be ate in the community room. We did have some pushback. Some people did not want to eat in the community room. They wanted to bring the meals to their room. Unfortunately, because that's not how our program works, we are not a Meals on Wheels type service. We are a congregate setting. We told them they have to eat in those locations. We did have a few that said they are no longer going to eat with the program, but I think some of them even came back after they, no, not yet? Okay. They might. It's only been a couple weeks.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Another thing to go with that, in order to reduce waste and cost, we have purchased the to-go type containers are no longer to-go containers. They are going to be meal trays with a lid on it. So that way they're not in those styrofoam containers being delivered. So they will have their meal packaged in a tray with a lid over it, and you'll have silverware and cups and that kind of stuff. So that way they eat in that location, and then they'll put their dishes in, and we'll come back and pick up the dishes. So that way they can't bring that up to their room. So that's another change we made to be compliant with the state.
Kind of wonder if a lot of that happened with COVID.
Exactly.
It just never went back to
Yeah.
the way it should after COVID.
It was.
That's exactly what happened. COVID was a big reason why.
All right, thanks for that update. Parkston Meal Site.
As you all know, Parkston closed, Overtime Steakhouse closed their location. We haven't served meals in how many weeks?
Oh, a month and a half.
Okay, a month and a half. Because of this, we've been searching for a new location. Amy handed out a chart that shows how many meals we serve in a fiscal year in Parkston. The different restaurants we had was Pony Creek Steakhouse, Booms, and Overtime. They're losing a lot of meals in that location to serve their community, their aging population in their community. I went to their city council meeting Tuesday night and spoke to their city council and told them what's going on and asked for their help, their assistance. There is no restaurant in Parkston that meets the requirements. There's bars, Subway, that kind of stuff. They don't meet our meal program requirements. So I reached out to them asking for help, if there's any way or something they can come up with in their community to help serve the elderly that they have. A couple options we talked about was the hospital or the school, since we do the school in Mount Vernon. They are going to set some feelers out and get back to us, and hopefully we can get that program up and running for them. Again, we have seen that about 200 so meals that were in Parkston are now getting their meals in Tripp. So some people are still getting their meals, but not as many as we were serving. Any questions, or if you have ideas?
Do they have a VFW or something like that?
I don't know.
Because I know one community used a VFW.
Yeah, Artesian used to use their community center, but you have to find a person to cook the meals, and that's the hard part.
All right.
Thank you.
Citizens input.
Well, there's nobody there. I do have a question. Somebody that I work with. Okay, work with somebody that's been almost banned from House Transit. I know we had talked about that. This is when I was on the board. This happened quite a while ago. But there came a situation where that they really needed to use the bus because their vehicle was down. Mom was scared to use the Palace Transit. Wouldn't, because she's like, if she has one time where she has a behavior, she's going to be no longer able to use it forever. Is that the case, or is it that she would get like a three strike trial again, or how does that work?
Yeah, it usually depends on the timeline.
Okay.
So, I mean, if it's within a year, you go through that process, but if it's been a couple years.
It's been over a year, because it's been as long as I've been working with, so that's what I was thinking, but I wanted to make sure before I tell the mom, I don't want her to get her on there and then her get kicked off for good. And,
Right.
Christy told me to get on the bus. But there's been a lot of changes in that person's life, so I think that it would be beneficial for him at least to have that as a backup plan, if
And
it's
we
possible.
always have that where they can appeal and come back
Okay.
to you guys as well.
Okay. Just want to make sure on that. Thanks.
Good, yeah.
Department reports and updates.
Palace Transit Report is provided. You have September in here. Shows where the ridership is. Palace Transit ridership increased by 5,700 rides compared to last year. This is our end of the year summary since October is the beginning of our next year. Efficiency remained the same by utilizing only 2.31 miles per ride compared to the 2.21 miles used in the previous years. So I think it was a good, successful year. Oh, and, sorry, go
Can I
ahead.
ask, are you, I know that with the new software, are you getting overall, like, good reports back from riders or complaints or?
Both.
Like, both?
Yep.
Okay, okay. We are having a lot of struggles. I don't know if you guys are at your clinic, but we, I guess, our patients don't schedule the returns because they may get labs, they may be there longer than expected, and then they get left. And so they're worried about not being able to be picked up. And then when they call for will calls, it's like 2 and 3 hour waits. And so by the time that they've been there, sometimes like if they have an appointment at 1, sometimes like with the new software, like it was always before, they got picked up 30 minutes prior with the new software. Now it's whatever is the next available time for them. And so they might get picked up at 11 o'clock in the morning for a 1 o'clock appointment.
Correct.
And then so they're sitting in our clinic from 1 until 4 or 5 o'clock. And we're having, so they're diabetic, have missed lunch now. So now we're like trying to figure out like, what do we do with these patients who are having to be here? Because this new software has kind of put a wrench in kind of how things just operate in general. And we have angry patients and we're just now we're left to figure out like, what do we do with these people like who are diabetic and now like missed their meds and their lunches and now it's 4 o'clock and they haven't eaten. And so now we're like, do we have to, because of all of this, do we have to like have snacks and things that we have to have on hand for patients and things like that? So we're trying to figure out processes on our end also, but we definitely are hearing like patients are angry at us.
Yeah, and.
And
us
it's
as
not
well,
our
yeah.
fault.
Yep.
And so we're kind of trying to just diffuse what we can, but I don't have any great solutions. I don't know, like, I know that you talked about adding staffing. If adding any staffing, will that improve any of those things at all with times or response times or any of that or not?
That will obviously help because Andrea and I have both been out driving quite a bit because we are short on our part-time staff. We definitely need part-time drivers. But the biggest thing is they have to schedule that return trip in order to be public transportation. We can't operate like a taxi. Scheduling a return trip, even you might get done early or, hey, I'm still in the appointment, it's going to be another half hour, call us, then we can change it. That would be what we recommend to everyone. Some people are willing to take the chance, like, nope, I just don't know, I'm going to wait. But if they have to wait, we say, you're going to be waiting because you have to schedule that return trip.
And also like the same day rides, like if we have a patient that needs like an urgent CAT scan that rides the bus that we now have to send over to the hospital.
You're going to be waiting.
We have been because we had one a couple weeks ago. It was like 11 o'clock in the morning, and like as soon as you guys could get there is 3. Well, they need them there like for a stack
That
CAT
staffing.
scan now, and so we end up having to like drive them over, find staff to drive them over. So I mean, I know like our community, it's a struggle. We don't have any same day rides. We don't have like taxis where we would normally be able to utilize, but that puts us in bad situations too. So we're just trying to figure out how to navigate all of this new stuff. But
And the software is definitely something we've been tweaking and working on to try to get it better. But that's not the whole case of it too, because what was happening before is we were picking up these will calls, and we actually had will calls that were waiting before with the old software for up to 2 hours at times. but then it pushed everybody else late and complicated everything else that had the reserved rides. And it's not fair to those who reserve the rides versus somebody, well, I'm ready now. That was the hardest part. So that's why we really, really pushed to schedule your rides. And like I said, if you're going to be late or early, we've even had people, I'm ready now. Oh, your ride's not for another half hour. You look, oh, it'll be able to get you now. So that's why we really pushed to do a return trip time. And if you can push that to your patients, that would be extremely helpful too.
So if they schedule a return ride and it is like 15 minutes before they're scheduled to be picked up and they're needing to go get lab and some other things, if they say, I need 15 more minutes, will you guys really will come back and get them in 15 minutes after their normal scheduled time?
Not
Or it's going to
necessarily.
be put back
It
in
might
the
be
will
put
call,
back.
will it be 2 or 3
It won't be
hours
put in the will call. We'll try to get it as soon as possible for that. It all depends on what is available, but we are short. Like I said, Andrea and I have probably been driving 20 hours a week on top of our regular duties because we are short part-time drivers. And we have a full-time driver who's still out. So it has been taking longer, and that's normal when we're short drivers. I think we're short.
How many positions do you have open?
Our full-time driver is out on sick leave right now, so we don't have any full-time positions, but part-time we could hire. We have a 30-hour and 2 20-hour positions. And that's 70 hours plus your 40, so I mean, it's a lot of hours we're trying to get jammed in there.
Okay.
But yeah, the wait time is long if you don't have a scheduled time. Having a scheduled time is your best bet.
So what happens if they, they get, the patients get sidetracked in the clinic, don't realize what time it is, if it was 2 o'clock and it's 2:05 and they're still there and they forgot to call. So then do they they get put on a will call when they call back, but then
They get charged the
they get
no-show
charged the no-show
plus the
rate,
same
right?
day, yep.
And then a same-day ride to get back home again. Okay.
But good news is we have 2 vans up and running, and we got the logos and everything on, and we're hiring van drivers. So if you know anybody who wants to be a part-time van driver, we have those available as well. And that's, when the vans are out and running, that seems to help the speed of people not waiting as long as well.
What's the pay for the drivers?
The bus drivers is 21 something and the vans 12 something.
CDL required for the van too?
No, that's why it's a lower rate.
Yep.
Any other discussion?
I do 100% hear you on the waiting though, because we deal with it all the time in the office and people are frustrated, but there's no availability. I mean, the buses are going.
All right, adult nutrition.
In your packet, you have September and October nutrition results, where you can see how Parkston has dropped off, because their normal monthly goal, like for September, is 1,162. That's our projection. And they did 755, and then in October, they had no meals. So that kind of hurts our overall projections and to LY last year. Our second meals have been going crazy. We keep getting new clients daily on those, and we're supposed to get a truck yet today, so hopefully.
Okay. Visual volunteer program.
In that packet, I just, some of the options that the volunteer opportunities that the volunteers have been doing in the last month, and kind of how many we have. And I do want to add something to nutrition. I got together my list for Snowflakes. The Snowflakes is our annual donation to the nutrition program. And last year, we brought in $8,872. This year, my goal is $8,160. So I'm going to probably put the Snowflakes up today, and we'll get that rolling, so.
Good timing. I just told JP silly about that on Monday.
All right, James Valley Community Center.
Kim attached the coordinator's report in there. She has lots of different special events. They did root beer floats, they did Patriot Day concert and a Halloween party. The 6-week chronic disease wellness through Better Choices, Better Health program was a huge success. We had a lot of people coming in, participating in that class. We've had Shine coming in, still doing their programs. We have our fundraiser going on right now. Our quilt raffle is going on. We did a fall bus tour. And we had a great turnout for when Marty Jackley came and presented about the different measures that were on the ballot. That was very nice and helpful that we had that. And memberships are out for renewal right now.
Schedule next meeting.
Write it down and write it in.
Won't be till the new year. The 9th, January 9th.
I won't be able to attend that day.
John, you gonna be out golfing?
I hope so. But at least I'll put it on my calendar.
Okay.
All right, meeting is adjourned, 10:25.
Thank you.
Thanks.